Katsokefe. What can be immediately assumed? I see this Ethereum liquidity here in the financial market, which has just recently changed and which we could now be approaching.
A link to all the information is on the YouTube profile.
Alright, we'll take normal stops. Our normal stops are located within this range. So the volume on the previous candle increased on the seller. Now the seller's candle is larger. Cluster in favor of the seller. So the zone of interest in the middle is bad, but below I don't see any good volume yet for the continuation of the movement. I would wait a little longer for some information, but overall, entering for a decrease seems more likely to me than for an increase. There's not enough info to enter. More information is needed. Let's see what's happening here overall. Grandma's constipation. As I understand it, we have an overall upward movement. The maximum was updated. There was an attempt to go even higher, but it was blocked. The minimum was also not updated. For this last piece, it turns out that we certainly indeed had a minimum made, and actually a maximum made overall. Next, correction. Now we should be moving to update the maximum. We're not going up, we're going down, right? That is not in favor of the buyer. A buyer appears at the bottom. Well, there you go. Just sit there. So how do you find the entry point here? All right, volumes, clusters, candles. There was a buyback. The buyback was from the stop where we previously saw a movement of 3 candles. After all, it was an attempt by the buyer to go for an update of the maximum strength, volume, anything. He didn't succeed. So the volume here is the largest for this interval. There might be a reaction from it. If the buyer doesn't show a reaction from it now and is being squeezed, then most likely the movement will go towards a stop or be on the downside. You see, you are between areas and it's generally difficult. That is, there are fewer sellers than in the previous candle and fewer buyers as well. That is, if I see that the buyer down there who appeared is being squeezed and we have something red of serious strength. You see, another buyer is appearing. You should not open a position for a decrease here, but you also can't open a position for an increase because the logic supports the seller. According to the cluster, nothing supports the seller, and there will be the nearest volume basically from where the buyer might be appearing. In terms of volume, there are also fewer buyers than in the previous candle, but also fewer sellers, right? So, well, you see, there's a really strong divergence. To do something here, you need to wait. Wait specifically closer to the candle's closing. So for now, we wait. You know, all this time, I see that the zone of interest is sticking out in the third block. That is, the buyer can't push it higher. The seller is clearly holding back this buyer who has appeared. I can already see that there will likely be more sellers in this candle as well, and we saw the reaction from this volume. Therefore, as a result, I decide to open a position here for a decrease. I almost joined at the wrong time because I didn't have time to clear my throat. The movement downward continues.